So one thing that's important is, again, when you're an entrepreneur, right, there's no better rate of return that you're going to get by putting money back into your business. Like always investing yourself, education, back into your business, always going to have a better return than anything else you can do in life, right? So that at some point you're going to want to have your business is doing good enough that you want to start to carve some money out, every month and every year to help save money for your future or something else you want, right? So at first you got to define what you're saving money for, right? I'm saving for retirement. I'm saving for my kids' education. I'm saving for XYZ reason. And there's kind of a place to put money in depending on where you're putting it for, right? So for example, like if you're going to put it towards retirement, right? A classic first thing to do, again, depending on income levels, and there's some obviously restrictions on this.
Welcome to the Rise, Shine, and Redefine podcast, where entrepreneurship meets purpose, mindset, and the energetic flow of business. I'm Caryn Meininger, your go-to guide and business whisperer, here to help you cultivate the strategies, mindset shifts, and alignment that allow you to rise above the noise and redefine what it means to succeed on your terms. In each episode, you'll discover the tools to create a business and life that feels authentic and powerful. So if you're ready to explore the deeper side of business, let's dive in. Welcome back to the Rise, Shine, and Redefine podcast. Today, I'm so excited to introduce Percy Avetrani, a seasoned wealth management expert with a passion for helping clients and achieve financial freedom. Not only is Percy my wealth advisor, he's also my dear friend. As a third generation financial professional, Percy's journey began in a back office role where he mastered the inner workings of a successful advisory firm. But his desire to connect directly with clients led him to launch his own practice in 2006. Since then, he's become one of the top financial advisors in Coral Gables, recognized across the country with Northwestern Mutual. As a founding advisor at WealthX Advisors, Percy's approach blends smart financial planning with a personal touch, committed to building lasting financial futures for clients everywhere. Today, we'll dive into Percy's wealth of knowledge on starting your investment journey, creating generational wealth, and cultivating a strong money mindset. Percy, welcome to the show. It is such an honor to have you here today. We are going to talk about people's most favorite topic, at least one of mine, and that is money, baby. So tell us a little bit about how you created this WealthX. I'm super excited to hear about it.
Yeah, no, thank you, Caryn. I'm super excited to kind of share some of my thoughts, about financial planning and wealth management here today. Look, when I was out of college, I really didn't know what to do out. And the reality is I sat down with my dad on the kitchen table and asked, and we're talking about some of my strengths as a person. And we started listing some of the things out and what I enjoyed to do. And he's like, listen, I think financial planning and wealth management is going to be the right thing for you. And he kind of pushed me very hard into this direction, even though my background was computer science, finance, he kind of pushed me into this direction. So, and thank God he did, because today it's a passion. And like many people, we started off, it was me by myself. I was the secretary. I was, the one creating financial plans. I was the one doing everything. Then I got one team member, and then they quit. And then I got another team member, and I had to learn how to not only be a good financial planner, but also be a good business owner and a good leader. Today we're a team of 12. And, we have a team of certified financial planners and chartered financial analysts on staff here. And we've had a huge journey, not only myself, but the firm and growing with the value proposition for the community and the people we serve.
That's amazing. And it's like, even though you're in this huge corporate company, you also are an entrepreneur within, because I know you built this team of 12, and a lot of us are on this entrepreneur journey. And so before we go into all the money, all the goodness, what kind of advice do you have for somebody who's maybe starting to build their own team and their own journey of entrepreneurship and feeling in the doubt and feeling in the dips of it and not knowing if they're good enough to do it? What was kind of your little life hack to continue the momentum and keep that boulder moving?
Yeah. It's extremely difficult. I think creating a business is one of the hardest things you can possibly do. I'd say the first thing I had to do was work really hard versus working smart. Because I think what happened at first is like my inclination was to work smart, and that didn't really work for me. I was eventually I figured out, hey, let me work really, really hard, and then I'll get smarter along the way. So that was a big thing that I had to kind of like figure out on from a habit standpoint. And then, for me, I started refining some of my skills and the different aspects of the business that I needed to get good at. And then I started to really help leverage. I think hiring my first person was like the biggest challenge or one of my biggest challenges because, obviously, look, I'm barely making any money, and now I have to in turn and pay somebody else to do this stuff, right, to help out. And my dad always told me it's 3 month bet. It's not a 6 month. It's not a year long commitment because you're thinking about, I got to pay this guy 50 grand or whatever, XYZ 80 grand, whatever the number was. Obviously at first numbers are a little bit smaller, but and it's only a 3 month bet. If that person's not making impact on your company in 3 months, then it probably wasn't the right person, right? So I think that was the key thing, is to invest back in the business really, really early. And I think if I give anybody advice, that would be a key thing. I think the first advice I would give is create a very clear vision of where you want to be 10 years from now, 3 years from now, and 1 year. We call that like the 10-year vision, the 3 year goals with the 1 year plan kind of thing. And obviously, the closer you are to that, the 1 year is going to be very detailed on what you want to accomplish, right? Versus a 10 year, it's really, really broad. But creating that vision allows you to kind of helps you make decision and write it out. There's a good article I could send to anybody who's interested. It's called Step Into Your Future. And that's a good article to read before you actually write your vision, because it helps you get in the right mindset to write that vision. And then once you got that down, right, I think investing back into whatever you're doing, whether that be in personnel or, in other different ways, or maybe it's just investing back into yourself in education, I think is key early on.
Yeah. And we're going to talk all about investing, and not only investing in your business, investing in yourself, learning how to invest in stocks and bond and all. I don't know all the terminology, but yeah, there's so many different areas we can invest in ourselves, investing in our growth, in our business, in our friendships, in our family, in our money, and how money can actually work for you. And it's really exciting, and I'm really proud of you because I've known you for a very long time, and I have just seen you pivot in such a beautiful, strong man, and able to have a team that totally loves you and supports you. And I love your team so much. They're always so helpful and so nice. And it is just I think money can be really intimidating for people sometimes, and investing can be really scary. And so I wanted to start talking about, I think before you can invest in anything, in my biased opinion, there needs to be a strong money mindset. And when you're coming from scarcity or lack, or there's not enough money, because money is energy. Money needs to constantly be in motion. So think of like a bath, right? Like the bath needs to drain, and then you need to refill the bath. Otherwise, if you leave the water in there, it's going to get stagnant. It's kind of the same with money. Like it needs to be in motion. So working with your clients, give us some feedback on some limiting beliefs that might be coming up for them, that's making them a little nervous about investing or putting their money where it's not just in their bank account.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think your relationship with money needs to be defined, early on, and what money means to you, I think is important. Like, for example, like if I think about what money means to me, I think of the word freedom,
Mhm.
right? Freedom to be present at my kids' soccer games, right? Freedom to take the vacations I want to take, freedom to not worry about money, right? The purpose of having money is not to worry about money, right? And I think everybody has a different definition. And if you can decide why you actually want money and build wealth first and determine your why, I think that's a good mental mindset to get into, if that makes sense, right? I think that's kind of like the first step in all that. And then when it comes to like limiting beliefs, I mean, that's a really good question. I feel like look, everyone has different issues that they're dealing with. I mean, they're sometimes dealing with, hey, I don't have control over where my money's going because I don't have a really good budget. Or, hey, I'm dealing with credit card debt. Like, which one do I pay first? Do I save money first or I pay my credit card first? They're, hey, I don't have any money left over after every paycheck. I'm like up to here. Like, and I think first you got to figure out, hey, what's your goal that you're trying to accomplish? Hey, I want to retire one day. I want to get a bigger house. I want to buy a vacation home. I want to do X, Y, Z, and everybody's different. Once you have those goals in place, then you can create a system and a process to help you get there. And there's very clear orders of things you should be doing, right? So first thing you should be doing is getting the right amount of insurance for your family, right? You know, if you have kids and whatever, get the right amount of life insurance and disability insurance, that type of stuff. That's pretty
Okay.
simple.
Yes, life insurance. Let's talk about that. I think there's a lot of people who maybe are unsure about the advantages of having life insurance. Yes, we understand somebody dies, they will get paid, but let's dive deeper a little bit more on the importance of having life insurance and where to even start with life insurance because I feel a lot of people might think like, "Oh, that's like a luxury add-on. That's not a need now." So let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, let's unpack that. So, look, it's very simple. Like, let's say you have a couple kids and you make 100 grand a year. I'm just throwing a number out there.
Sure.
And God forbid something happens to you, right? Your family's going to suffer, meaning they will not have the same quality of life, right? And it's a mathematical equation. It's, hey, if something happened to me, my wife would probably want us to pay off the mortgage that we have. They would want me to give them a certain amount of income, at least till the kids are like 25 years old, and she would want the kids' education paid, right? And you add those numbers together, right? And that determines the amount of insurance that you should get. So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the life insurance piece, what it is it's a backstop to an emergency, right? I've seen so many families that don't have life insurance, and something happens, and their family's destroyed, right? So getting that correct coverage first and foremost is key. And the good news is it's really, really inexpensive, right? I mean, life insurance is basically free. You know, you can get pretty much as much as you want, you know, depending on your income level and all that. But so getting the right amount is fairly simple and easy, you know, and that's important foundational thing to get when you're starting a family.
Yeah, and I love that. And it starts creating this habit of investing in yourself and investing in your family. Because maybe it's like, oh, investing in the stock market, that sounds really scary. But if you can invest 10, 20, $38 a month or whatever feels aligned for you, it's like, okay, that wasn't that bad. Now I can commit to myself and show I can invest in myself and it's not that hard and it's doable. And you start trusting yourself more. And it's such a beautiful way. That's how I started. That's how I started with you. I started with life insurance. And as we built our relationship, more investment opportunities came up that really feels good. And now it's like, oh, I get to make money work for me. And we'll go deeper into that later. But it is just a really good start. If you are listening and you're not investing any of your money, a really good starting point would be to start with life insurance. It just gets you in this habit of knowing you're doing something for you and your family that feels really good. And I love that. I think it's such really solid advice. And I hope our listeners really take that in because money needs to move. We need to move it because then what happens? It gets stagnant and smelly and gross. And we want to keep it in the cycle. So this is one way that we can continue to keep it in the cycle. Okay, so what about people who are they want to invest, but they're a little past paycheck to paycheck, they're making means work. Is there something they can do in order to, besides life insurance, to start like trying to get the money to work for them, even if they're kind of in a lower income bracket at the moment?
Yeah, I think every good financial plan starts off with a good budget, right? Sit down and write down what you pay for your mortgage or for your rent, what you pay for your phone, what you pay for your electricity, what you pay for, and put everything in there, like your projections for your vacations. You know, everything that you comes out of your accounts. You know, you want to just get a better grasp of what you're spending, right? So you have money coming in, money coming out, and God willing, you have some money left over. And if you don't, we got to look through your budget and say, hey, what part of my budget am I spending money on that's not making me happy, right? If it's making me happy, fine, spend money on it. If it's not making you happy, kind of either lower it or get rid of it, right? So I think the budget is a good thing. And then you start to look at, well, am I on credit card debt? Because it is difficult to invest when you're in credit card debt. And typically when if you're in credit card debt, what you want to do is pick the largest credit card and tackle that one first and then pay the minimums on the rest, right? And then you go card by card by card until you eliminate it, right? But then once you've done that, God willing, then you have no credit card debt, so you have that extra payments that you can add to the bottom level of what you can save every year, every month. And then you create that structure in that system where you pay yourself first, right? Where you get your money every month, you pay your investments first, and you spend what's left over versus the other way around where you get your money, you spend first, and you save what's left over. So that is the key, is to pay yourself first.
Yeah, and I love the idea of just, like, sitting down and budgeting. I like to call this a money date, and it's like, okay, like, light some candles. I have a lot of women followers. I mean, men can light candles too, but light candles, like, dress nice, like, really sit down and have that relationship with your money and be like, "Okay, did I spend money from my highest self, or did I spend money from my ego?" And that's the way you can start, like you said, eliminating the things that maybe was not smart spending, right? And I'm not saying don't buy the nice bag if you really want the bag and that's gonna make you feel good and light you up. But there are things sometimes we might be having a bad day and we go shopping like I do, right? And we start spending and we're spending money on things that don't serve us. And so if you really are wanting to invest and this is something you're really interested in, it's like, okay, where can I where is my higher self being like, yes, this was a good purchase versus no, this was not a good purchase. That's money that could have gone into investing in something, whether it's with management, whether it's yourself, whether it's something that's you want to invest in something that's going to have some kind of return on investment for you, investing in your business instead of just buying, you know, thousands of dollars on Amazon because you had a bad day, right? So I really love like really going on this money date, sitting with your budget. Okay, what is left over? And I never heard that before. Invest first and then spend. That is such good advice. I absolutely love that. I think uh, I need to start doing that more too. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love what you said, just to allude what you said a little bit, because I think I love what you're saying, that you can invest in yourself in different ways, right? It's like, yeah, listen, all of us go do some retail therapy every now and then. We're not having a good day, we go buy something. It gives us like an immediate rush. But what sucks about it, it probably only lasts for a couple of hours, and the next day you're like your mind adjusts, and it's not very. Retail therapy is not a good long term solution. Usually.
Definitely not.
But like investing in a cooking class or investing in something maybe to help your family, bring them closer together. Investing is not just for your retirement or for something you want, right? It could be into something else that is of value in your life. So I think that I love that you said that, and I think that's important.
Amazing. Yeah, and it's like how we wanna be lit up, right? Like you said, it's not money. Money is just energy. It's what we think money is gonna give us. So, for you and I, it's money gives us freedom. Freedom to be present with our family, freedom to go on that trip if we want to, freedom to stay home if we want to. So there is this deeper desire of what money gives us. And then the other piece is there's people who want money and they just want money. And then there's people who want wealth, right? And wealth is legacy, fulfillment, freedom, abundance. And it's having that discernment of, oh, is it money? Is it money that we want? Is it wealth? Is it freedom? And like once you go under the hood and you get to that root of, oh, I want freedom. I want freedom. And I'm here to tell you if you want freedom, you get to insource that right now. And I'm going to give everyone listening some homework. I want you to think of 3 times that you have felt completely free in your life, whether it's with your family, whether it's when you wake up in the morning, whether when it was on a trip. It doesn't matter, whatever's coming up, you get to insource freedom right now. And when you start insourcing freedom right now, your body is like your subconscious mind. So your body is going to start to feel that freedom, and then it's going to project that kind of reality into the 3D world. So you're going to catch up. Like when you start feeling the way you want to feel as if you've already received what it is you want to receive, aka money, it's going to happen because your subconscious mind is a projection of is a movie of your life. And so it's like, oh, okay, we get to feel free right now. That freedom's going to come, whether it's from money, wealth, something else, but you're going to start being able to quote unquote manifest all of the things and joy and fulfillment that you've been chasing after once you start feeling that now. Okay, that was my little tangent on that, but
No, I love
um
that. That's great.
okay, are you ready to take your business and life to the next level? If you've been feeling stuck or like you're hustling without seeing the growth you desire, it might be time to step into what you're fully capable of. That's exactly why I created the Level Up Like a Boss signature program. It's designed to help entrepreneurs like you align your actions with your potential, master your inner world, and create a future that feels both purposeful and profitable. In this program, we'll dive deep into mastering belief systems, building self-awareness, and making intentional decisions that move the needle. Imagine finally being in alignment with your vision and your actions. If that resonates, head to my website or check out the link in the show notes to learn more about how we can level up like a boss together. Okay, so I'm running a business. It's starting to make some money. And, I'm learning, okay, I'm going to invest instead of spend. I want to start investing in the market, in the bonds, and all the things that can make me money. But I'm scared. I'm scared because, oh my God, I'm not going to see my money in my bank account anymore. It's going to be in like some other energetic space. What is something we can do to start putting money into investments like that, like in actual money investments? Did I
Yeah,
say that right? Does it
yeah,
come
no,
with
you said
money?
that perfectly right. So one thing that's important is again, when you're an entrepreneur, right, there's no better rate of return that you're going to get by putting money back into your business. Like always investing in yourself, education, back into your business, always going to have a better return than anything else you can do in life, right? So that at some point you're going to want to have your business is doing good enough that you want to start to carve some money out, every month and every year to help save money for your future or something else you want, right? So at first you got to define what you're saving money for, right? I'm saving for retirement. I'm saving for my kids' education. I'm saving for XYZ reason. And there's kind of a place to put money in depending on where you're putting it for, right? So for example, like if you're going to put it towards retirement, right? A classic first thing to do, again, depending on income levels, and there's some obviously restrictions on this, but a Roth IRA might be a good idea, right? That might be a good place to put money, right?
Okay, what's an Roth IRA?
Yeah, so a Roth IRA is a specific individual retirement account that lets you save money for your retirement and has a lot of tax benefits. So that's a good place for you to start putting money into that. And that's something that has to happen consistently, right? Every month, pay yourself first, put your money in there, and understand that that money's not disappearing, right? We all get an emotional connection from our money, right? Meaning you open your phone and you see your money at Wells Fargo, TD Bank, whatever bank you use, and you look at it and you're like, oh, my precious, right? I'm feeling very happy with my money because it's there, right? And you feel a sense of security. And so understand that when you're investing money, you just basically have to open up another app, right? And you still get your emotional connection from it. You just got to open up another app. The money's not gone. You're just moving your money from one pocket to the other. And that's the key, right? Is understanding that that money is still there. Now, the one thing is, but what you're doing is you're giving the money job description that I'm saving this money to give me retirement income. So hence, it's supposed to go here. I'm saving money for my kids' education and it's going here. The better you can give the money that you're saving and investing a job description, the more effective and efficient it will be.
I love that. That is genius. Oh my God. Can we repeat that? Because that was so good. Give your money a job title. Give where you're putting your money a job title. Because then it's going to make more sense in your brain too. It's like, oh, okay, this is how my money's working for me. This is the job of the money here. And what solid advice. I absolutely love that. And I hope you do that for me when we have our next call. So good. This is so smart. And so if you were going to set up an Roth IRA, how do you do that? Where do you even go to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to there's different worlds to kind of set up these types of accounts. You can go to like discount brokerages. They have there's like online brokerages, whether it be like Robinhood or like Schwab or one of those like Fidelity. You can go online and just like open up an account and like start putting money in a Roth IRA. Look, I'm more inclined to tell you that every person needs a financial advisor, right? Because a financial advisor does a lot more than just manage your money. It helps you with the behavior. It helps you with the goals and the conversation around goals and objectives. It helps align your money with those goals and objectives. And so I think that you should strongly consider. You can either do it yourself, which again is good. And if you're the type of person that is disciplined and can be on top of your stuff and has some knowledge in that space, that's a valid way to do it. But for most people, we're talking about 95% of people, it's better to hire a financial advisor. Obviously, locally, you can look for a financial advisor. At the end of this call, if you're interested in maybe working with me and my firm, you can kind of give us a call and kind of talk a little bit about that. But ultimately, what a great financial advisor is supposed to do and planner is supposed to do for you is help you realize your truest goals and align your money with that. And that's how, and essentially, that's the important part.
Yeah, beautiful. It's so good. So yeah, so you can set up a Roth IRA. That's a really good start to investing. Now let's go one step up. Okay. You're starting to really make money. You don't really know what to do with it. You have this extra money and you want to invest, let's say with your company. How is somebody going to know this is a good fit for them to start making that next step? Because maybe they're not really used to investing, but they're like, "Oh, I have like 50 grand in my account." I'm just making up a number and it's just sitting there. What do I
Yeah.
do with this money?
Well, first of all, you never invest your emergency fund, right? That's number one. So anything above and beyond, like from, let's say most people, if you're a W-2 income person, like work for a company, you should have 3 months of your budget in a savings account. It's not to invest. If you're more of an entrepreneur, right, where you own your own business, it should be 6 months. Some businesses should even be 12. So don't invest that money. We're not talking about that money. We're talking about this money, right? So that's that. Then what you want to do is you want to ultimately give that money a job description, and it doesn't have to be all one job description. This amounts for this much, this amounts for that much, and again, a financial advisor can help you do that. And then you want to from there, it's got to think about tax treatment of the money, and you got to think about risk of the money. So
Ooh,
tax
let's explain that.
yeah, so tax treatment is like, okay, a Roth IRA, you can't touch that money till you're 59. It's a retirement vehicle, or you get a 10% penalty. So it gives you all these tax benefits, but it allows you to save for the future without taxes, right? So that's why it's important to give the money job description because, you're not going to put in short-term money into a Roth IRA because that's not the intention. It's long-term money. Yeah, right? Typically depending on your age, of course. Now, if you're going to invest money for a down payment for a house, that's 3 years from now, you're going to invest that in a regular investment account, but you're going to be very conservative doing
Mm,
that, right?
mhm.
Whereas maybe your Roth IRA, if you're 40 years old, you're going to be much more aggressive because we have 20 years, right? So aggressive in our world means more invest like in stocks, where like more conservative means invest more in bonds. So your Roth IRA maybe is a lot more stock heavy, whereas your bucket money that's for 3 years from now is all bonds, right? So that's essentially how you do that. You align your money with its job description and then invest that in vehicles that are appropriate for that time horizon, right? Because the problem with stocks is they all go up and down. They may give you good rate of return, but they kind of have that ups and downs, right? And you got to be able to stomach that emotionally, and there's no way to get the superior rates of return.
And that's where I come in. I help you regulate your dysregulation when the market's going up and down and all around and giving you putting you on a roller coaster ride where your stomach drops.
Absolutely. So again, just to kind of wrap up on this point is that, look, think of it this way: the longer you invest, the more you want the money to go up and down because you're going to get the better returns, and you actually want that. Sounds weird, but you actually want that. The closer you're going to invest, like 3 years, you want that to be easy going, right?
Hmm.
Because nobody knows where the stock market's going tomorrow or next year, but we know where the stock market's probably going in 10, 15 years from now. So that's the whole idea: is the longer investments more aggressive, shorter investments more conservative.
Yeah, and the longer investments, there's trends, right? And the trends tend to repeat themselves. So there becomes more confidence in, oh, there's a 7% return after 7 years. I don't know what the data is, but it's like, oh, okay. So if I know this is long term, like you said, job description of your money, you're like, okay, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And then 10 years from now, it's like, oh, bam, look at my bank account. I remember when I first invested with you with life insurance, I never looked at it again. And you're like, "Oh, there's like 20 grand in there." And I'm like, "What? Like, how is there 20 grand in there? What are you talking about?" So it's like once you're just like, "Oh, that job description is way for the future," then it doesn't affect you. Like you can take the emotion out of it, knowing like, nope, that's there. That's for that purpose. It's like when you start a new job, same thing, right? It's like you're in it for the long term. You're gonna have good days and bad days, but overall you're gonna end up making more money the longer you're there. Ideally. I mean, I know corporate can be different sometimes, but for the most part, yeah, the longer you're there, the more money you're gonna make with that company. So it's such a beautiful analogy and I love it. Okay, so let's talk about okay, we've invested this money, we're starting to feel good, we have the job descriptions, but Percy, man, I got kids. I want to set my kids up. I want to make sure they're okay. Like, I know we got the life insurance, but when they're 30 and they want money from me to get married and I don't want to spend that money for them, what's something you can do as a parent to help set your kids up for those big purchases and lifestyle goals and all of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. And understand this conversation can get very complex, right? So it's hard to kind of condense it to something, that's in this format.
Into
But
third grade language? You can't do it? No, I'm
yeah,
just
it's,
kidding.
it's tough. But like, look, there's different buckets, right? So like, if you're gonna put money away for college education, a natural vehicle, something called a 529 plan, right? And again, it goes to the idea that 529 plans are government vehicles, right? Where 529 plan is a tax code, right? Which you don't have to pay money on the taxes, right? Just like kind of Roth IRAs are government vehicles, so that you don't have to pay taxes on. 529, the government's giving us certain vehicles that we can put money into that you don't have to pay taxes that are helping us out towards these specific goals or these specific intentions, right? So one is I want to save for my kids' education. A 529 plan is a good option for that. Now, if you're going to save for a different type of thing, right, whether it be for the down payment for a house or to give them money for their wedding or to give them a little leg up in life, right? Then you have things like, regular investment account. You could do that. You got to pay taxes along the way, but you can open up a regular investment account. Some people choose to use like the special types of life insurance, right? What it does is it guarantees their insurability, right? So when they have a family, they already have that insurance when they're young. It also allows them to accumulate equity and cash in their policies to help supplement their kids, their college education, or helps with the down payment for a house, or can help to start a business of theirs later on, right? So again, you have options of 529 plans for college. You have the options of maybe a brokerage account to set up if you want to invest in equities. You have the option of setting up life insurance contracts for them. So these are the different kind of basic options. There's much more, by the way, but that you can kind of start to learn about if you wanted to specifically put away money for your children's benefit.
And when should you start? Like, is it when they're born? It's when they're born.
Yeah, the second they have a social security number. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a point where it's too late to start investing for them?
It's never too late to start investing, depending on the intention, right? But like, look, for example, look in here in South Florida, right? My kids, go to private school here, and I wanted to put money in a 529 plan for my tuition next year. right? And they'll actually allow you to take out $10,000 a year from a 529 plan for the high, for education, for private school education here. And so I put that money in my account, but I didn't invest it very aggressively. I invested extremely conservatively at around 5%. But I didn't have to pay taxes on that 5%. So it's not really 5%. It's really like, 6 or 7, right? Because there's no taxes.
Mm.
So ultimately, it's never the wrong time to invest. It's never too late to invest. You just got to make sure you invest in the correct vehicles and with the right risk tolerance, given the time period that you have since when you want to take the money out, right? The worst thing I could have done is put that money in the account, invest it aggressively, because again, no one knows where the market's going tomorrow. So you just got to match the risk tolerance or how aggressive or investment or conservative you're going to actually invest the money to the amount of time you're going to invest the money.
Yeah. Yeah. And that seems really challenging. And to figure out if you don't know that much about this, like this is where you come in, right? This is where, as a financial advisor, wealth advisor, you can really help somebody really figure out like, okay, where do I be aggressive? Where do I not be aggressive? I don't know that much about this. I just want to do what you think is the smartest way. Is that something that you're able to help guide your clients with?
Yeah, I mean, so what ends up happening is people have different goals in their life, intentions, right? I want to reach financial independence. I want to educate my kids. I want to buy a bigger house. I want to buy a boat. I want to make sure I can help my parents, as they get older. Everybody has different goals and intentions, right? And what ends up really happening is that, hey, when you do your budget, God willing, you have some money left over, right? Which we talked about earlier. And then you start looking at, well, I have 1,000, 2,000, 20,000, $100,000 a month. Again, I'm just making numbers up, right? Right. Everybody's financial difference, but these principles are applicable to everybody. Then what you do is you create that system where automatically that money, let's call it 3 grand. You have 3 grand every month. That money then goes into a pot, and then it gets cut to your kids' education, gets cut to your retirement, gets cut to your vacation home in North Carolina, gets cut to money for your parents, right? Again, I'm making this up, but the idea is that you're taking the cash flow that you have every month, and then you're filling up buckets of some of the goals you have intentionally, and then you're growing that money to achieve that eventual goal.
And so how do you help somebody if they don't know what their goals are? They're like, I want more money, but they don't really know, they don't have goals or they don't know.
Nobody really has goals. I mean, that's funny you say that. So like no one really wakes up and says I have goal. I mean, there's certain like parts of the population, let's say 5%, like wake up and like are very clear on things because but most of those people are like kind of worked on this stuff and like had a lot of self-learning and all that stuff. But I think you start off what people care about, right? And once you find out what people care about and what you find out what you're most passionate about, then you start to figure out what their goals are, right? So I think you start with, what they care about and what's important to them, and then that kind of leads into the goals, right? To me, goals are a reflection of what people care about with a numerical value. For example, like, hey, I want to have financial independence. I want to go to work because I want to, not because I have to. Okay, cool. And okay, the goal attached to that is at age 60, I want to make sure I have 20 grand a month coming in. And I want to make sure that, and that's a mathematical equation, meaning if I want to hit that target, given Social Security, I need to save this much to get to there. And it becomes a mathematical equation. And if you can save that much every month, then you create a system and a process to invest that money to eventually hit that end goal result because of the feeling that I want. Am I making sense?
Because it all comes down to the deeper desire, right? It's like, what do we think money is going to give us? Oh, we think it's going to give us freedom or control or safety or whatever it is that's really underlying the whole thing. And then it's kind of reverse engineering. It's like, okay, when I retire, when I'm not working anymore, how do I want to live up? How do I want to live my life and how do I want to show up? And I think that's a really good way of also figuring out goals too. It's like, okay, I don't have to work anymore. What does your day look like? And then you get to put the financial value. Okay, in order for me to live in this way every single day without working, this is how much money would feel good and in alignment for me to make monthly to live out the rest of my life.
with that dream. And I think it's so valuable. And it is important to have goals because it keeps the momentum going. I love this analogy. It's like a boulder, and you can't move the boulder, and you can't move the boulder. But once you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing, that boulder is eventually going to move, and it's going to get the momentum, and it's going to go faster and faster. And then it's like, oh, wait, retirement. Now we need maintenance. We need that boulder to just kind of slow its roll and be there. And that's really, really important. And it does. I'm sure you learn a lot about people's values, and are people living in their value, right? You might value growth, but you're not investing in yourself to grow. So are those values even aligning? And it's really powerful. And so like sit down, what are your values? How are you showing up in your values in your life? And then, yes, putting the financial number on it. It helps you create that financial goal in such a aligned, powerful way. And I love all of this. I love everything that we've talked about today. If we were to leave this conversation today, what is one tip that our listeners could take away that they could start implementing right now in the next 24 hours?
One tip in the next 24 hours that could really help you, inspire you for change. Look, I think every person should sit down and write a vision for their life,
I love that.
right? And whether it be a part of their vision for money, for material things, for their faith, for their relationships in their life, right? Just sit down and write, right? And do a 10-year, 3-year, and 1 year. And I think by doing that and that whole process of doing that, that will help clarify your mind and what you really want. And hopefully then that can, you can use some of the tools we talked about today with your money and start to make that alignment, right? So if I had one thing, create your vision, write your vision, you and a piece of paper, and I think that would be impactful for you.
Beautiful. And just to add on to the vision, I love visioning, is when you're writing the vision, where do you feel it? What do you feel in your body? Like, where are you feeling the excitement, the power in it? Because that's the feeling, like we talked about before, is like really embodying that feeling, because then the subconscious mind is going to catch up to your actual reality of that vision. And then you're able to take inspired and aligned action, whether it's investing, whether it's growing, learning, educating, showing up for your kids, being present, whatever it is for you, you're able to then have that momentum to keep it moving and building that trust and safety in yourself. Such an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. If people want to work with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thing to do is just kind of like Google me. I mean, honestly, it's my name is Percy, like Percy Jackson, the movie. And then last name is Avetrani. A is an apple, V is in Victor, E is an Edward, Trani. So Percy Avetrani. Then you'll find my website real quick, and then our phone numbers will be right there. That's going to be the easiest thing to do.
And I'll put all of that in the show notes, so it'll be really easy for you guys to find it.
Yeah. So, but I really thank you the opportunity to give back to our community and hopefully, impact one person that's listening for change. And thank you for that opportunity, Caryn.
Yeah, of course. It's been my pleasure. I am so excited to share this podcast with the world.
Have a good one.
Thank you for joining me on Rise, Shine, and Redefine. My goal is to empower you with the insights and energy to create the life and business you dream of. If you're ready to elevate, if you feel called to align and amplify your impact, check out Level Up Like a Boss through the link in the show notes. And if this episode resonated, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review so others can rise alongside us. Keep rising, keep shining, and start redefining your life.